Most people spend their entire lives trying to become attractive, so they change their clothes, their body, their hair, their personality, even their dreams, all for one thing: to be chosen, to be admired, to be desired. But what if everything you've been taught about attraction is incomplete? Because the people who spend their entire lives trying to be attractive sometimes become the least attractive people in the room. Not physically, psychologically. There is something deeply unattractive about desperation. You can feel it without anyone saying a word. The need to be liked, the need to be noticed, the need to impress, the need to prove. It has a weight to it, an invisible tension. And people respond to that tension long before they respond to your appearance. Now think about the most magnetic person you've ever met. Maybe they weren't the most beautiful. Maybe they weren't the richest. Maybe they were not the loudest. Yet somehow everyone noticed when they entered the room. Why? What was it? It was not perfection. It was present. It was not appearance. It was certainty. It was not performance. It was authenticity. Real attraction has very little to do with chasing attention. It has everything to do with how securely you occupy your own life. Because people are not only attracted to beauty, they are attracted to emotional experiences, to certainty, to groundedness, to peace, to purpose, to someone who isn't asking the room for permission to exist. And here's the paradox: the more desperately you seek attraction, the further you move away from it. Because attraction cannot be begged for, it is projected. So now, we are not talking about beauty hacks or fashion or pickup psychology. We are talking about something far more powerful: the psychology of becoming the kind of person whose presence changes the atmosphere. Because true attraction does not begin when people notice you. It begins when you stop needing them to. I'll say that again. Attraction, true attraction, does not begin when people notice you. It begins when you stop needing them to. Number one, stop chasing attention. Most people believe attraction is something you add. A better body, better clothes, better pictures, better words, a more impressive life. But attraction is rarely created through addition. It is created through subtraction. Remove the desperation. Remove the neediness. Remove the constant self-doubt. Remove the habit of performing for everyone else. And suddenly, the person who was buried under all of that becomes visible. Because people are not only attracted to beauty, they are attracted to emotional certainty. Think about it. Who captures your attention faster? The person desperately trying to impress everyone, or the person comfortably being themselves? The answer is almost always the second. Why? Because certainty is contagious. People trust people who trust themselves. Not because they are perfect, because they're congruent. Their words match their actions. Their values match their choices. Their confidence does not depend on applause. Most people don't realize that the need for approval makes you forgettable. The harder you try to make everyone like you, the less memorable you become. Because in trying to please everyone, you become whoever the room wants you to be. You soften your opinions. You laugh when things aren't funny. You apologize for existing. You constantly read the room, constantly adjust, constantly edit yourself, until eventually you no longer know where your personality ends and your performance begins. The irony is, people rarely connect with perfection. They connect with authenticity, with someone who says what they mean and means what they say, who is not afraid to disagree, who is not trying to manufacture an image. That kind of confidence cannot be faked because it does not come from believing you're better than other people. It comes from no longer needing their permission to be yourself. Number 2, be present. Have you ever spoken to someone who made you feel like you were the only person in the room? They were not checking their phone. They were not waiting for their turn to speak. They were not thinking about how they looked. They were simply there, fully present. Presence is one of the rarest qualities in the modern world because most people are physically present but mentally somewhere else, thinking about how they're being perceived, comparing themselves, wondering if they're saying the right thing, trying to appear interesting. But here's the secret. Interesting people are interested. They ask questions. They listen deeply. They notice details. They make people feel seen, and people never forget how you made them feel. They may forget your outfit. They may forget your words, but they will remember how they felt in your presence. Many people believe confidence comes first, then attraction. But confidence isn't something you wait to feel. It is something you build. One promise you keep to yourself, one difficult conversation, one boundary, one act of courage. Every time you keep your word, your self-respect grows. And self-respect is the foundation of confidence, not compliments, not followers, not validation. Real confidence is a quiet belief that even if the whole room disagreed with you, you would still recognize yourself in the mirror. That is attractive, not because it demands attention, but because it never has to. Have you ever noticed that some people walk into a room and everyone feels them? Not because they are loud, not because they are trying to be noticed, but because they carry themselves like they belong. That is magnetism. And magnetism cannot be purchased. It cannot be copied. It cannot be performed for very long. Because real magnetism is an inside job. It is the outward expression of an inward relationship. I'll say that again. Real magnetism is an inside job. It is the outward expression of an inward relationship. The relationship you have with yourself. Number 3, you teach people to treat you by how you treat you. Every interaction is a negotiation, not of money, of value. People are constantly asking themselves, often unconsciously, how does this person see themselves? And then they usually follow your lead. If you constantly apologize for existing, people begin to treat you like an inconvenience. If you tolerate constant disrespect, people learn that disrespect has no consequence where you're concerned. If you abandon your boundaries to keep people, they stop respecting both your boundaries and you. The world takes its cues from you, not from what you say you deserve, but from what you repeatedly accept. Your standards become instructions. Your boundaries become education. Your self-respect becomes permission for others to respect you too. And this is why attractive people are rarely people pleasers. Not because they're selfish, but because they understand that respect must come before acceptance. Number 4, have a life of your own. One of the fastest ways to lose your attractiveness is to make another person the center of your universe. Think about what happens. You stop pursuing your goals. You stop seeing your friends. You abandon your hobbies, your routines, your curiosity, your growth. And slowly your entire identity begins orbiting around someone else. At first, it feels like love. Eventually, it becomes dependency. And here's the paradox. The people who are the most attractive in relationships are the people who would still have a meaningful life without one. They have purpose, direction, discipline, passion. A relationship adds to their life. It does not become their life, because purpose is magnetic. People are drawn to people who are moving, not because movement makes them valuable, but because movement creates energy, and energy is felt. Number 5, stop trying to be chosen. This may be the biggest shift you'll ever make. Most people move through life asking one question: will they choose me? Will they love me? Will they hire me? Will they approve of me? Will they stay? Every decision is filtered through that question. The attractive person asks a completely different question. They ask, do I choose this? Does this friendship deserve me? Does this opportunity align with me? Does this relationship bring peace or chaos? Does this environment allow me to become the person I want to be? Notice what just happened. The power shifted. You stopped living life as an applicant and started living life as an evaluator. Not from arrogance, from self-respect. Because attraction is not built by convincing everyone to want you. It's built by becoming someone who knows their own worth, and people can feel that difference. Number 6, stop trying to be attractive. By now, you've probably realized something. Attraction has very little to do with beauty. Beauty might capture attention, but it cannot hold it. Character can. Presence can. Peace can. There are people who become less attractive the longer you know them. And there are people who become more beautiful every conversation you have with them. Because attraction isn't static. It is experienced. And nothing is more attractive than someone who has learned to become at home within themselves. Number 7, stop seeking, start becoming. Most people walk through life asking, how do I become more attractive? The better question is, what kind of person am I becoming? Because attraction is rarely pursued. Attraction is a consequence of discipline, of purpose, of self-respect, of emotional stability. Think about it. When someone is deeply committed to building their own life, they stop trying to convince everyone else that they're valuable. Their value shows itself naturally, without performance. There is something deeply attractive about a person whose identity doesn't change depending on who walks into the room. Someone who doesn't become louder around important people or quieter around intimidating people. Someone who remains themselves. That consistency is rare, and rarity is magnetic. Number 8, the people who chase attention rarely find connection. Attention and connection are not the same thing. Attention can be bought, manufactured, performed. Connection cannot. Connection requires authenticity. It requires vulnerability, integrity, presence. This is why some people have thousands of admirers, yet feel completely alone. And others have only a handful of people, yet are deeply loved. Never confuse being noticed with being known. One feeds the ego, the other feeds the soul. So don't build a life whose purpose is attention. Build one worthy of genuine connection. Because the people worth attracting are rarely impressed by performance, they are drawn to truth. Probably the most attractive quality a human being can possess is peace. Probably the highest form of attractiveness is peace. Not the peace that comes from having an easy life. The peace that comes from knowing who you are. A person who doesn't compete with anyone, who doesn't envy anyone, who doesn't need to win every argument, who doesn't need to be the center of every room, who doesn't chase, who doesn't beg, who doesn't perform, because they already possess what everyone else is searching for. Inner security. And nothing is more magnetic than someone whose happiness cannot be negotiated. Attraction is never about having the perfect face, or the perfect body, or the perfect words. It has always been about becoming the kind of person who does not need to pretend, because confidence is attractive, purpose is attractive, kindness is attractive, discipline is attractive, integrity is attractive, and peace. Peace is unforgettable. The people who leave the deepest impression on us are rarely the people who tried the hardest to impress us. They are the people who had the courage to become completely themselves. So stop asking how to become more attractive. Become more honest, more disciplined, more peaceful, more alive. Because when you build a life you genuinely love, you stop chasing attention. And strangely, that is often the moment you become impossible to ignore. If this video resonated with you, I would like you to like, share with a person you think it needs to resonate with too, and drop a comment. This will help the Human Mirror grow so it can reach more people who can find resonation with it. This has been the Human Mirror. Look closely, you are never invisible. I'll see you in the next reflection.